minute we will be live, and maybe we are right now. And a big giant hello to Gaby Cabezut. How are you? Did I get your name right?
Yes, it was perfect. Thank you.
So a huge muchas gracias uh, for spending time with us today. Really appreciate it. So I just mentioned, Gaby, you are an author and an agent, and you represent about 1 billion Spanish-speaking people in Central and South America. And this is the first time that I've had the opportunity to talk to somebody who is in this area of the world, and there's just so much to talk about. So first of all, welcome. And I'll just say that I'm Mel Rosenberg, the host of the Children's Literature Channel of the New Books Network, and we're so happy to have you. So Gabi, do you want to start out with a few words about you?
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'm a writer. I started in this journey as a writer, as an online writer, which I think that a lot of people get surprised of because I started writing in English. I wanted to write in English, and writing online was the only possibility that I could write in English. Um, I work in tech in publishing for a little bit, and now I'm at the Seymour Agency as a literary agent, and I'm also at the Alliance Rights Agency, who's our sister agency, as a foreign rights manager.
That's wonderful. So, and you live in Mexico,
Yes, I live in Puebla, Mexico.
Puebla, a city of several million people, which is a few hours from La Ciudad de Mexico. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Mexico City, which
Yeah.
is a fantastic place. And any question I'm going to ask you is going to be mind-boggling. Um, let's you're Mexican and you live in Mexico and your English is spectacular.
Thank-
Um, and you're an agent for an American
Yes. Yes.
agency.
Yes.
How did this happen?
Well, it all started with me writing online. One of my stories, so it's a long story, I'm sorry, but one of my stories got
We
super,
have three hours.
okay, cool. One of my stories got super popular in that platform. I was invited to go to it was Wattpad. I was invited to go to Wattpad in Canada, where I met a lot of people, and then after that trip, they invited me to work with them. So I worked with them for a year. And while I was working with them, another tech company reached out to me because they wanted to have my story as an interactive story. And I started to work on the side with them, and they invited me to work with them. So, and I worked with them for 5 years. That's how I met Nicole, our agency's president, because she was consulting with them, and I love her. She's an admirable woman. She's amazing. And when I decided that I wanted to change my career and I wanted to do something else, I let her know that I was leaving that company. And then she reached out to me a few months later and invited me to be part of the agency. And that's how I became an agent in a nutshell.
It's fantastic. So, but you're an agent now,
Mhm.
trying to, and I want to shout out to Dr. Dana Zeiger who introduced us, a
Yes.
wonderful lady and author, and she said that you were lovely, and you are. And so I mean, your background is with Wattpad,
Yes.
and people would say, well, Wattpad is not traditional publishing; it's kind of self-publishing, and you made a career there, and then you got into traditional publishing. But are you traditionally published?
Well, I was traditionally published with one of my books, and I should have got it because I have it in paperback in the Philippines. Um, for some reason, my stories became super popular in the Philippines, and um, and publishers started to reach out to me, and I published my story twice in the Philippines with two different publishers, and yeah, that's the only one that I've been traditionally published.
So now you are representing other authors, but you are also represented by Marisa Cleveland. Please give her our regards.
Yes,
And she's trying to get you into the American world of traditional
yes,
publishing
yes,
with your spectacular young adult books,
yes, yes.
romance and what have you.
Yes, it's romance, but it's very sweet romance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm guessing that's why people liked it in the Philippines.
You're so sweet. How could you write anything except sweet?
Oh, thank you.
Uh, so how long have you been doing this? This is like it's crazy. You're living in Mexico. You're representing American authors trying to get traditionally published, and you're also trying to get traditionally published in America at the same time. It's
Yes.
fantastic.
Well, it's globalization, right? Like I think it's all because of the internet. And I don't want to say my age, but I come from an age or a background where people like things didn't go viral as they do right now. And in a way, my story went viral on Wattpad in a time where that didn't happen. So it was just like, um, yeah, it's funny. I remember querying to agents when I was writing on Wattpad and thinking that agents were like unicorns. You hear they exist, but they are so hard to find. Or they're like, and now I'm an agent. And yeah, it's
You're an agent. You're an agent with an agent,
yes.
and you got there by self-publishing, which is like you're the first. I counted. I interviewed 185 authors and illustrators and editors and agents, and you're the first who got in through self-publishing.
Yeah, well, I don't think that Wattpad is a self-publishing platform. It's just where you share your stories, and I think I didn't
Well,
answer your.
it's not traditional.
Yeah, it's not traditional, and I think I didn't answer like how long I started these, but I like 15 years. I Since 15 years ago, I started to write on Wattpad.
So it's been quite a journey.
It's been quite a journey. Yeah.
And yes, Gabi, agents like you are unicorns.
Well,
But you're a special unicorn because you're a unicorn with a mission. And your mission is to be a voice for Latino authors, uh, also in North America and in South America, or mainly in Mexico. What is your agenda?
Well, this is kind of funny. When I became an agent, I started first representing people in North America, and the reason why that started was because I needed to get, some sort of mentorship and to learn and so on. And then we got a lot of publishers in Latin America and Spain asking us, when are you starting to represent Spanish authors? And they kind of planted the seed. And after a few months, I talked to Nicole and I told her, I'm ready to do this. So let's, we talked about it and we opened Seymour Agency, which is this. It's just me in my house, in my office. Um,
We won't tell anybody.
but while I was doing some research as well to see like how many literary agencies were in Latin America and so on, because it is a well-known figure in Spain, but not in Latin America. And I realized that there were like four agencies in
Wow.
whole of Latin America. So, so we are open to everyone in Latin America. I actually am talking to a Spanish girl from Spain because I'm open to mostly to Latin America because I feel like there's a lack of opportunities. But if I love the story and if I love the voice and if I love the person, then I'm also open to represent them.
Okay. So you told me before we started that you are open to authors by referral, which means what does that mean to my listeners? Are there any listeners that you would agree to have a look at the manuscript if they
Yes,
wrote to you and said, Mel referred me?
yes, yes, absolutely. The thing is, I feel like again, I feel like there's a lack of opportunity in Spanish, so I'm trying to focus in Spanish, but I'm also open in English, and I put in our website by referral because I'm not open to queries like receiving queries from everyone. If they know one of my authors, or for example, if they're listening to your podcast, they can let me know in the title, like maybe Mel Rosenberg's podcast or something like that, and I'll take a look, obviously. But
That's wonderful. That's really good news. But you've just agreed to receive several hundred manuscripts. I hope you realize that. But so, Gabi, let's be specific. What are you really looking for? The first preference would be for Latino writers
yes,
from anywhere in the world
yes.
who are Latino, whose background is Spanish, whose mother tongue is Spanish, whose culture
Um,
is Spanish.
well, yes and no. Like preferably yes, but I also feel like I've met a lot of people that are, for example, American and they are married to a Mexican guy. So they are very immersed in our culture and they and like this one person reached out to me and she told me, "Well, I'm American. I'm not Mexican, but I like writing stories that, talk about Mexican culture and so on." I'm open to that. I think that I mean that's fine. If you're if you love writing and if the message is there and if the writing is something that I really like the voice, that's fine. I don't really care who you come from or where you're from, like that's fine.
But you also have so first of all, a preference for own voices in Latino or almost own voices or fantastic stories.
I want to say I want to say own voices, but I'm also open to any I feel like there's and I feel like I'm just repeating myself,
Yeah.
but yes, own voices and fantastic stories.
Okay. Because I don't know whether Donna told you, but as far as I know her, she's
She's amazing.
pretty, yeah, but she's not Latino. She's very Jewish.
No, no, yeah, I know.
I don't know if I outed her now, but anyway.
I know.
So if somebody, you take an American client, okay, you have a double responsibility opportunity because you can sell manuscripts in North America and in South America.
Yes, but there's a but. Usually, picture book publishers keep all the rights. So that's one of the things. Like I specialize in foreign rights, but for Kid Lead particularly, the publishers do keep almost all the publishers keep foreign rights because they know that they can reach a wider audience and so on, which is fine. So I'm selling the manuscripts in English, but I'm also selling manuscripts in Spanish to Spanish publishers in Latin America.
So, but that's a huge opportunity because so you're in between 300 million plus or minus in America and maybe 350, I don't know, since I left, and a billion Latin American people. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So what is easiest for you to get a manuscript in Spanish or in English?
It's either is fine with me. I mean,
So
whichever
what does
language.
so Gabby, to all of our listeners in South America, I think I have three, but there may be more now. Um, I'm going to say something in Espanol.
Okay.
Los zapatitos me aprietan. But if you're listening to this broadcast and you're in South America, then and you're a fantastic writer of picture books or young adult, then reach out
Yes.
because you can bring them to North America and you can bring North America to South America. It's fantastic. Which is my next question because when you write a picture book, like let's say somebody wants to write about the Latino experience in Texas. Okay, it's going to be very different than the Latino experience in Buenos Aires.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fine. I think um I think we need a diversity of how things happen around the world, and it can't be closed and say, "Oh, I'm only going to represent if we're focusing on Latino writers, I'm only going to represent Mexican authors," which is kind of a funny thing because from the six people that I'm representing, no one is Mexican. Like I'm representing people from Argentina, Venezuela, etc., but no one in Mexico. So,
So give me an example. You have somebody in Argentina who writes picture books.
well, no, she's writing young adult.
Okay. I don't know anything about young adult. Let's say she's writing picture books. And you
Okay.
have this wonderful manuscript from her. Where are you going to try and sell it? Because if you sell it to an American publisher, they will want the Spanish rights. If you sell it to a Latin American publisher, they will want the English rights.
Well, actually, the story that I sold in Latin America already, they just wanted Spanish rights, so we kept all of the foreign rights, which I think that's amazing because
Ah,
then we can sell it in other languages. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
I think it's mostly in the US, where they keep all of the foreign rights. Yeah,
Also in Israel, where I am right now.
they keep all of the rights.
They
I mean,
try their best.
I mean, it's a
What?
good thing if they try to sell them, but it's also kind of hard when you are a publisher and you have several manuscripts to sell.
You told me before, Gabi, that there is a big market in Latin America for picture books.
Yes.
Um, what percentage? I don't need 47.3%, but are most of these books homegrown or are most of them translated from English?
I, well, this is kind of sad. If you go to a library or a bookstore in Mexico, most of the picture books or the kid lit books are translated, which
From
I feel
from
like,
from English.
yes, from English, from French, yes. I'm seeing more and more the publishing houses here in Latin America trying to change that, but I think that's only happening now.
So I was in Bologna at the book fair recently.
Oh, me too.
Wow, qué lástima.
I know. We could have met there.
Next year,
Yes.
next year, Vino on me. We will meet next year in Bologna, right?
Yes. Yes, we
Ah,
will.
wonderful. But you know, I think I saw Spanish publishers. I didn't see that many Latin American publishers.
No.
¿Por
No.
qué?
Um, well, it's very expensive to go to Europe. That's one thing, and I think that Latin American publishers are more focused into Latin America because it's easier, and I'm guessing cost effective, the distribution in Latin America. But if you want to go to another book fair, we host Guadalajara's book fair in Mexico's I was gonna say Mexico City, but in Mexico, and it's the biggest book fair in Latin America.
In Guadalajara.
In Guadalajara, yeah, yes.
And so what are people doing at that book fair?
Well, it's the same things that people do in Bologna or Frankfurt. There are a lot of author events. There are a lot of stands where people can buy. Well, actually, in Bologna, the first time that I went there, I was very surprised because I wanted to buy books and I couldn't buy books. So I was like, oh, we're just like buying and selling rights. But at Frankfurt or at Guadalajara, you can buy books in Spanish, obviously. But yes.
Fantastic. So, what do you do more of? Pitching books to American publishers or pitching books to South American publishers?
At the moment, I'm doing mostly pitching to North American publishers because I have more clients in the US and people not in the US precisely, but that they write in English. Um, and I'm still growing my list in Spanish.
Mhm. So, again, I'm translating this into to my audience.
Yes.
Um, Gabi wants to grow the Latino community of authors, and I think that that's fantastic. So when you have and I know this from Israel and from other places, it's hard, and unless you've grown up like I did in Canada, it's hard to live in, I don't know, Chile or some place far away from North America and write a story that is going to resonate with American publishers. Um, am I wrong? Tengo razón?
Um, um, I I think that there was a time where it was very hard, but we are seeing, especially in the kid lead community, we are seeing that publishers are very focused into diversity and inclusivity. So if you are Latino, or if you are Jewish, or if you are in one of in a very specific community, they are looking for that. And we are actually, and I don't know if I should say this, but we're actually finding it harder to sell American authors just because they don't have that cultural background, which is like insane. but, but yes,
So,
I think it's I like that. I think that there's a lot of I love that, but I also feel like we should not forget to be inclusive with everyone, not just you know
yeah. So even regular boring people, we will look at their stuff.
exactly.
Which brings me to my next question. It's rare that I have an agent in the interview. Talk to me about people querying you.
Okay.
What mistakes do they make? How can they improve when they send you a query letter? And also the writing of the manuscript.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go very general. If you are querying an agent, make sure to research that agent. We get a lot of queries where it says, literally, dear agent. So if I read dear agent, I'm like, you don't know who I am. So I'm not gonna pay as much attention to your query as if someone who says like dear Gabby or whatever. So that's one of the things. The other thing is to see what the agent is looking for because we also get a lot of queries. For example, I'm looking for kid lead and including new adult, and that's it. But I don't like horror, for example. And sometimes people send me a horror query, and I'm like, again, you didn't read that I don't like horror. So you have to make sure to research the agent. Always start. being nice and just like saying hello and introducing you, but very shortly. We just need like a line or two, and then I would jump into the story. I love Peaches, so if you can, and I know that's very hard as a writer to summarize your whole story into 2 or 3 sentences, but Peaches are what sell your story. So make sure to research how to pitch, how to try to condensate the action or the message that you want to send in your story, and then you can add the blurb or the summary of the story. I always ask for the full manuscript. I think it's just because I know that I take a long time to read my queries, and I just feel like asking for only 5 chapters is just a waste of my time. Like I just want the whole thing, and I just want to read through the whole query and then decide if I want to go for it or not.
So is there a situation where you start reading the query and just something about it, the first paragraph, something in the pitch, and you say, wow, I'm excited. The juices are going. I have to read this. What is this author?
Yes, yes, definitely. I think that when you get queries, you get hooked by that pitch or the way that you sell your story. Um, and then I want to read more, and then I go to the full manuscript and read more.
Do you want if the author is writing a picture book, uh, when they talk about themselves, should they talk about other things in their career that they've done that are not related, or that's really not important?
Um, Only if they want to. I would like to know where they from, for example. If they have a background, which is not needed because, for example, I didn't have a background in I studied hotel management and I've never worked in a hotel. So like Nicole, our president, was a teacher and now she is a president of our agency. So I mean, doesn't really affect, if there's a background or not. If you are I like to know how you found me. I like to know if you looked at the Seymour Agency page, if you look at my website, which hasn't been updated in a while because I don't have time. So don't look at my website. um, yeah, I think that's it. I don't need anything else unless you feel like you have to or say something. That's fine.
Based on the research I've done, the chance of having a manuscript picked up by an agent is about 1 in 1,000.
Well,
Is that a figure that you can live with?
yes. I
So
mean,
that means you have to be really good. You have to be
yes,
exceptional,
yes, 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 you have to try your hardest.
and you have to find something that Gabi is going to be interested in as Gabi. Which brings me to my next question. I always ask people in Kidlit at what age they're stuck. Because I don't believe that a writer who spends their lives like I do writing for 5-year-old kids is anything but a big 5-year-old. But you love picture books, but you write for young adults. So, Gabi, where are you stuck?
Well, that's a tough question. I think I love picture books because as a mom, I love reading to my children and I love spending those times. So there's some sort of comfort or yes, like I love picture books because it brings people together, and I really enjoyed reading to my kids when they were younger. And I really like writing sweet romance stories. What can I say? Like, so I don't know. I guess I would be like 16, something
You,
like that
you,
in between.
no, that's fine. That's fine. So when you read to, I mean, your children are a little older now. Um, um, and what kind of books did you read to them? English, Espanol, which authors, few examples.
I read them in both because I feel like for me languages have always been super important, and now I always tell them um that languages open doors for me. So since they were very little, I read them in English and Spanish. I love Julia Donaldson, The Gruffalo. It's one of the first stories that I actually got the book in English and in Spanish, so we could read them in both languages. I love The Room in the Room from her too. I love The Cat in the Hat by Dr. Seuss. I think that's one of the books that my mom read to me, and I got to read
Wow.
to my
Wow.
child. So I
So
really,
Gabby, I want to go back to Julia Donaldson, who's a hero of mine. Um, I need
love
your help
her.
in finding her. But
I,
I would just tell you that I actually I ran into her in a coffee shop in Athens,
oh wow.
and it was like, "Hi, I'm Mel. Hi, I'm Julia," and she says, and I say, "Well, I hear you write picture books," and she says, "Yeah, I write picture books." And I was like unagented, unpublished at the time. I was like nothing, nada de nada, as they say in Brazil. Um, and I didn't know who she was. And I said, "Well, what kind of picture books do you write?" He says, "Well, I guess I'm best known for a story called The Gruffalo."
Oh, I love that story.
This verdad. This is verdad. And like my jaw is like, "You're Julia Donaldson." She's the nicest person, modest. We spent an hour having coffee, and I'm looking for her now. If you know
Oh,
where, if you know where to find her, Julia, wherever you are in the world, I have a story for you. Anyway, that's incredible. I'm also like,
yeah.
she's amazing. She's
I love her
amazing.
stories. Yeah. Yeah.
So, are you looking for the next Julia Donaldson?
I would love to. Of course.
Gabi, why do author illustrators have such an advantage in finding agents and publishers, or am I mistaken?
Um, I I honestly I haven't heard that. I think that the advantage that they have is that they can translate their story with words and images. And sometimes we do find authors who are like have a lot of art notes, for example. And if you are an illustrator, then you don't need all of those art notes, and then you can just, create the story. But I also feel like that's not super needed. You only if you have a very strong story, then you're all fine. And if you are a very talented illustrator, then you're all fine. Like we can find. Oh, I'm also representing illustrators, so
Ah,
and I'm open to illustrators too. So,
okay. And just right, I heard about you, at Mel Rosenberg, NBN, and so on, so right.
yeah,
And
well, yes, if I can just put like
I
NBN and then the
yeah,
title, that's
yeah, and
fine.
I don't require anything. Perhaps a cup of coffee in Bologna, but that's it.
I would love to have a cup of coffee with you at Bologna.
And and we shall. So here's another thing that people ask. They ask lots of preguntas, but we don't have time today. But another thing that bugs them is these art notes. Art
Yes.
notes, yes or no?
I do like our notes, but I do feel like the story has to be strong enough without art notes. Because sometimes the art notes can get a little crowded and it can distract you when you are reading the manuscript. And I kind of worry if this author is going to work well with an illustrator. So, yes, art notes are yes, but make sure that the story can be read itself by itself without the art notes.
So maybe art notes as few as are needed.
Yes,
Any other advice you'd like to give with all of your experience to authors that are listening?
read a lot. I know that this is the most common advice, but it's because it works. Read a lot of picture books, read a lot of the genre that you want to write on. That does not mean that you're going to steal a story or an idea, or it just helps you develop your voice and gives you a better vocabulary as well and lets you see how the techniques of writing a picture book in this case or writing a YA as well gives you. So read, read, read.
Okay. Comps, yes or no?
I love comps. Yes.
Okay. So everybody send comps.
Yes.
Um, do they have to be recent?
No.
Okay.
No.
So
No. They
that's very good. Comps, not necessarily recent.
no. No, because my favorite books are not recent. So yeah.
What other favorite books do you have?
Well, actually, I knew you were gonna ask me about it. So I have some books
How
here.
did you know? How did you
I watch your podcast. Getting
know?
ready. Oh, so one of my biggest, uh, I love this book. I really, really love it. I love the message. I love the illustrations. I love, um, I love that it's message driven, but it's not like teaching kids. Like, like the message is there, but it's not that clear. Another one of my favorite. Oh, I'm sorry. And I have actually one of my favorite books as a child here, but it's in Spanish. But it's so old that we had to we had to take care of it because it was falling apart. But this is one of the books. It's called The Kind Red Dragon. It's a translation. But this is one of the books that my mom read to me and I read to my kids as well. So
That's
uh,
incredible.
and this one is from one of my clients, Melissa Stevenson. I love how she showcases diversity and in a book that just kind of brings everyone together.
Is this a recent book?
Yes, this one has been published, I think, 2 years ago.
Hmm. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So you're relatively new to the business. Have you sold many books yet?
Yes, I've sold, well, not many books, but I'm like 2 years in this career, and I've sold five picture books, and we have four picture books and one anthology, and we have three contracts in the way. They're not
That,
signed
that
yet because we're negotiating.
that's excellent. So if you have nice authors, and I'm sure they're all nice authors,
Yes.
or illustrators with picture books coming out, then you know where to send them for
Yes.
interviews.
Oh, yes, of course.
To
Yes.
me.
Yes. Yes.
And finally, because we're starting to run out of time, eh, two preguntas. First pregunta, what haven't I asked you that you wanted to share?
What? Sorry, can you repeat
What
the
what what questions haven't I asked?
Um, what questions? I think that you haven't asked me a lot about foreign rights. And I think that that is something I could talk my I could talk a lot about foreign rights because I'm very
So
passionate.
yeah, go ahead. Talk for a minute or two on foreign rights.
Okay.
I'm in favor of foreign rights.
I think that they're great. I think it's a great way to reach out to new communities. For example, Julia Donaldson, who has been translated into so many languages, and she has been able to reach a bigger market. So I would just say if you have an agent or if you are working independently and you have a contract and so on with a publisher, always try to keep foreign rights. Or if your publisher is goes to Bologna or sells rights and so on, always try to convey how important it is for you to get foreign rights sold. I think it's a great way to grow your community and to have a little extra income as well.
Okay, and so you should try to maintain your foreign rights.
If you have an agent, otherwise it's
Yes.
going to be really hard to sell foreign rights.
Yeah, because if you come to Bologna and you're unagented and you don't have a publishing deal, it's impossible to negotiate there
Yeah, it's gonna be
as an
really hard.
individual.
Yes, it's gonna be. It's not. I don't think it's impossible, but I think it's gonna be really hard, especially at Bologna, where you already have all of these meetings with editors and so on. The catalogs are ready, and people are more interested in selling rights than acquiring rights. Yeah.
They're more interested in selling rights, but people do acquire rights.
Yes. Yes. I mean, we have those meetings with the editors, and they are looking for stories.
Bologna is a magical place, Gabi.
I
I'm so
love it.
sorry I didn't meet you. I met a wonderful small publisher from the UAE,
Uh-huh.
and they have bought rights in Arabic to my book, which is coming out.
Oh, that's so nice.
And this is a miracle of Bologna, you know, given where I live, et cetera, et cetera. My dream is for picture books to transcend all of the terrible things that are happening in the world and to bring light and beauty and peace.
Me too. And I think I love that about the Kid Lead community, how supportive and how positive it is, and how like everyone wants to share a positive message with, with our children. I love that.
So finally, um, I'm going to ask you because your English is so fantastic that I'm not sure you can actually speak Spanish. So for the first time on the show, I would like you to reach out to the Spanish speaking community. And you told me something fantastic at the beginning. Books in Spanish, picture books in Spanish are written in Spanish for Latin America and then sold in Spain. It's crazy.
Yes. Well, in okay, so in it depends on how it's written. If it has a lot of like I don't know how to say in English, but special words that you have like in Spain or in Argentina, for example, then you do need to translate it. But if it's not, if it's very general, that's fine.
Mhm. So last question as far as the 500 word question. Should picture book manuscript be less than 500 words?
No, I feel like that's kind of a an urban legend. I've had a lot of writers like surprised that they don't have to be in the 500 words. You can go up to 1,000 words, and maybe sometimes you go a little up. It's fine. I am finding a lot of editors are asking us for more words than less words.
Wow. But every word should be an important word.
Yes, yes, of course.
Yeah,
And
don't go now and take a manuscript that's 500 words and put in another 400 words.
no, just because, but everything has to be important, but don't feel like you have to have your manuscript at 500 words.
Gabby, this has been fantastic. And I'm going to ask something of you, which I've never asked before. I'd like you to prove to everybody that you know Spanish and say a few words to your community.
Okay.
And because I know you love music, perhaps you'd like to sing a song in Spanish.
That's very hard. I can I don't sing well, so I can speak in Spanish. Okay. A mi comunidad en México y Latinoamérica, bueno, les platico súper rápido. La agencia Seymour está abierta para recibir manuscritos, para libros para niños o libros de novela juvenil también. Lo único que les pido, si se escriben alguna novela juvenil, que no sea horror, porque no es uno de mis géneros, pero tengo abiertas todas mis queries en Query Manager, que también le voy a dar el link a Mel. Y nada, muchas gracias, Mel. I'm gonna say really quick in Spanish. I'm gonna give you my Query Manager link in so you can put it in wherever you want to put it. I was gonna say in the comments, but no, Mel, don't put it in the comments. So I don't know. In case you need it or in case someone asks.
We can put it in the YouTube if you want.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe we can put it in the
we'll,
YouTube.
we'll try. But I mean, if anybody needs, they can write to me and I'll somehow connect you and whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, this has been marvelous,
You're
and
amazing. The
and
sweetest.
no, you're amazing, and I hope that we get to actually meet one another in Bologna.
Yeah.
And in closing, in your honor, I'm going to say something in Spanish that I've never said before. Todos los patitos se pueden bañar. Um, so listen, this has been wonderful. We're going to send everybody home and leave and then come back so we can have a little tete-a-tete after this wonderful interview. And I've been with the incredible Gaby Cabezut, who is an author, young adult, famous in the Philippines, and hopefully soon in the whole world.
Wow.
And agent for Seymour Agency, hoping to bring out more Latino authors and perhaps also bring wonderful manuscripts in English to the Latin American community.
Yes.
And also with a side gig at Alliance Rights. So for people wanting to talk about foreign and subsidiary rights, you're also the person to talk to. And you must be incredibly busy with all these hats. I'm going to let you go, but come back in. And to everybody else, thank you very much. I'm Mel Rosenberg, the host of the Children's Literature Channel of the New Books Network, and I've been with the incredible Gaby Cabezut. Muchas
Thank
gracias.
you so much,
Muchas
Mel.
gracias.
Gracias.
Go out and come back. Thank you, dear.
Bye.